for them. So we're going to talk about love, peace, and joy in this song. So when it gets to love, every time we say the word love, you can either do this, or if you're holding a microphone in your right hand, you can do this. All right? You can do this. Love, every time we say love, every time we say peace, we'll go like this. Every time we say joy, jazz hands, baby. Jazz hands. All right, so let's start this off.
All right.
Transformation. That's what we're in the business of. So we are glad you're here. We know you're here by divine appointment, as are we. I've got to catch my breath here, Judy. That about wore me out. I know, right? Aerobicized. I love the jazz hands. That was fantastic. I got a few quick announcements for you. First off, in the Sacred Community Action Department, our focus for August is teacher supplies. I'm so sorry I used my Prozac joke last week because I really want to use it again this week. All right. Kleenex, hand and surface wipes, hand sanitizer, etc. for Pennington Elementary. So be sure that, I believe there might be a list out there on the wall, maybe? Okay, good. Check that out and see what you might be able to provide to help out some teachers in need. Also, a little shout out to all of you who brought donations to Souls for Souls. In the month of July, we donated 42 pairs of shoes to Souls for Souls. So good on you. Good on you, good on you. All right, today, Land Lovers has a vegetarian potluck. Hopefully you brought something vegetarian, something that never breathed. And following the service, please, if you have a vegetarian dish, please stay. If you didn't bring one, I'm going to step on out here on a limb and say that they'll probably bless it and break it and they could feed 5,000. So just plan on sticking around with them after the service. This Thursday, August 22nd, Susie Wright has a mediumship and intuitive development circle at 7 p.m. That's correct, 7 p.m. There's Susie right there. Her dress has oranges on it. You can't miss her, so if you have questions about that on Thursday night, stop by and talk to Susie. And then this Friday, there's a healing arts potluck. We're just potlucking all over the place around here, let me tell you. It's just, we're going to call it Unity of Potluck for now. No, this Friday night, those of you who are in healing arts or you're interested in being in healing arts, there's a potluck this Friday for those folks to gather together and talk. Where's Becky? Becky, there she is. See Becky after the service if you want some more information about that. And then next Sunday, August 25th, Leslie Martin, a past life regression therapist, will offer guided meditation and past life information. That's next Sunday from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Just enough time to come to church, go out and get something to eat, come on back at 2 o'clock and find out what kind of samurai. I believe I was a samurai. I'm just sharing that with you. People who know me are laughing. The rest of you are wondering why that's funny. All right, that's all we got for now. Let me tell you what, today would have been my father's 77th birthday, and he would have loved this song. So stand on up and let's sing it for David W. I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be loved every day. I will live it, I will give it, all along the way. If we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we gotta walk it, talk it, live it every day. Talk talks and walk talks, but walk talks louder than talk talks. Talk talks and walk talks, but walk talks louder than talk talks. I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be loved every day. I will live it, I will give it, all along the way. If we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we gotta walk it, talk it, live it every day. We gotta walk it, talk it, live it, give it every day. We gotta walk it, talk it, live it, give it every day. Oh my gosh. It's either me or something, but these are, I gotta take a minute to breathe. Just a minute, that was awesome. I got a few more quick announcements for you here. First off, you'll notice this red bucket sitting up here, the gift of change. So we've got this red bucket up here because, for several reasons. Number one is, sometimes when we just reach in and take out what changes in our pocket and throw it in the bucket, it all adds up, right? And a lot of times the kids come in here and they've got change, and I have heard through the grapevine that they're worried about this breaking if they drop their change in here, all right? So we're going to run a special little gift of change bucket right here for you to put change when we get around to our sacred walk of abundance. You can put, folding money in here, and you can drop some change in there. Anything that's extra. I think sometimes we put our folded money in there and we leave our quarters in our pocket. So let's put those in there if you want to. And what a perfect segue. The Lunch Bunch group are reading The Gift of Change. I wonder how they came up with that title. By Marianne Williamson. So while we're focusing on the gift of change and being the change we want to see in the world, we can be the gift of change literally in the red bucket here. And then Wednesday evening classes, 7 p.m., The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Most of us are familiar with the Four Agreements. If you are familiar with them, you know that the study of them is a lifelong study. If you're not familiar with them, there's no better time to get started. Come out and join us 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. Pete?
Peace. Be still. Would the prayer chaplains please stand or raise your hand? I just want to remind you again that we have these lovely prayer chaplains here, and if anyone would like to have prayer after the service, anytime, let us know. So I'm going to introduce them every week so you know who they are. Thank you. The sacred reading. There is a connection between light, vision, consciousness, and its ultimate influence on my presence in this world. This one fact brings me today to the intersection between science, spirituality, quantum physics, mysticism, neuroscience, and Eastern philosophy. So, today's affirmation. I allow my Christ nature to be present. I become light. Together. I allow my Christ nature to be present. I become light. When I work at being present, I remain locked in patterns of excessive effort and thinking. When I respond to the light's invitation to be, I begin to see myself and the entire world through new eyes. The very fact of trying keeps me stuck in old patterns and behaviors. As Yoda stated, there is no try. There is only do or not do. So in this now moment, I tap into my breath. I allow my eyes to focus on one point in the room. And I begin to respond to life's invitation. The presence will find me. Without any effort, I begin to relax into a state of peace. No decisions to make. No confusion. No guessing. No thinking. Just being. An acceptance of this moment just as it is. I allow my Christ nature to be present. I become light.
So I'm going to ask that you release your breath one more time. Just begin with a reset breath. And in this now moment, I allow my Christ presence to be. I answer the invitation to light. And when I am in the process of allowing, the light finds me. And as the light begins to find me and I align with the light, I become more and more light. There is no try. There is only do or not do. And so in this now moment, the only question is, am I going to answer the call, the invitation to light? Will I allow myself to be filled up with healing, loving, peaceful, and joyous light? In the silence. In the silence. without any effort. I relax into a state of peace. I become light.
My soul inside is all light, all light, all light, all light, all light.
don't think India already has anything on us this morning. And I don't know what you heard in all of that. Or if you are aware of why that is important to know about yourself. The last words that they sung were, I am divinity defined. That means when someone meets you, you are the definition of divinity they know in that moment. It's a little daunting sometimes, isn't it? I am God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light. And so a mystic lives in unbroken awareness of the presence of the divine in all people and all things. That's the only difference. If I should say to you, how many of you feel like you're a mystic? Some of you would go, why? I'd like to be. So then I have to look at my day and say, where did I'm really too hot? And ta-da! It's like, eat it back. Lives in unbroken awareness. It's like I'm always aware of the divinity of myself and everyone else. Yeah, and I see some people going. And for myself, sometimes it's myself I can't see my divinity in, and sometimes it's somebody else, and sometimes it's both of us standing there staring at each other. A mystic, then, when that is beginning to happen, makes the light a reality in every moment of life. Every moment. So then the finger points back at me of where am I not making the light available? To myself, to other people, to the moment. When am I getting caught up in where the darkness is and diving into the deep end of that instead of being the light? Because when I'm the light, it shines through and everybody sees it. And I feel it. So our lesson topic today is this, and some of you are going, I thought we were studying the 4 agreements. We are. And in a minute, I will explain why we're stuck on the first one for the next 2 weeks in here. Some of you are in class on Wednesday night and already know why. But I will give you a hint. The first one is the hardest one there is. Once you get it down, the rest of them just flow. So where do I not love and respect myself, and how is that important to being aware of the light all the time? So I brought some scriptures in because I had several people come through last week and say, thank you for bringing scriptures in. So I brought a few more, just for you. Did you know you were made in the image and likeness of God? Did you know that that's the truth? Or that you are in the image and likeness of the divine, the divinity that created everything we see? You're the same stuff. You're the same stuff of stars. Did you know that you live and move and have your beingness in that cosmic suit all the time? That that's who you are? Do we know that? And when do we forget that? So this man lived a long time ago. And he was a mystic. One of the quotes that he has said, which is one that we've said over and over, and many people have used it in different words, but if the only prayer you said was thank you, that would be enough. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for the light here. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to shine the light. Thank you for everything. But he had some premises that he said, if you want to become a mystic, because people have said he was, here's things that you have to do. You have to know that the light is the core of your being. Did you know that? Have you dug into the core of your being enough to find that there's light? Did you hear Bee's words when she read this morning, you can't keep trying and working hard at it? That stops you from being the light. The light just is. And it just shines. But then when we try really, really hard, I have people go, I can't meditate. I try really, really hard. I said, that's why you can't meditate. And then they look at me like, what are you talking about? You can't try really, really hard to meditate, because then your brain is all wallered up in the middle of that. Right? At some point in time, you'll have a moment and you'll go, oh, that was it. And the minute you say that was it, you lost it. Can you hear that too? It's like you have to hang out in that place. Because that's where the light is. And that's right in the middle of you. He also said that this light can be realized. So there's obviously moments in time during my day that I can feel it or experience it. And when is that? Because again, when people ask me about meditation, I say, you may not ever, ever feel it sitting in a chair going, but you may feel it walking barefoot in the grass. Or you may feel it outside looking at birds. Or you may feel it singing a song with somebody else. Probably the biggest time I ever felt it is I sang with 250 people the Brahms Requiem. And right in the middle of it, I was standing in a whole soprano section, and there were all the strings and the cellos and all that, and all of a sudden tears just started ripping down. It was like, I felt the oneness of all of us at the same moment. And the minute my mind went, oh, this is cool, it was gone. You ever felt that, whatever that is, wherever you are, it could be at the ocean, it wells up inside of you, you go, oh, whoops. Because this thing engages, right? What is our purpose here on the earth? That's all he said our purpose was. We talked about purpose and passion and all of that, and there's nothing wrong with all of that, but he says our purpose is just to discover this light and to be it. That's it. Because if we discover that light inside of us, we're not going to not be it and not share it. And you're going to understand very quickly when you're sharing and it's not the light. Yes, Julia, we can laugh, because that's true. It happens to all of us. We share it and go, well, that wasn't too much of a light. So the first agreement that we talked about last week is be impeccable with our words. I'm going to read you a few things from this tiny, tiny little book. This is one of the easiest reads that you could ever read. It's one of the hardest books that you could ever follow. So I just want you to hear this, because this week and next week we're still on number 1 in this room. The first agreement is the most important one, and also the most difficult one to honor. It is important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend the level of existence and that I call heaven on earth. Can you hear that? That if you just make the first agreement and you get that one down, you're going to create heaven on earth in your life, in this lifetime. And the first one is what? I am what? Wow. That if I just become impeccable with my words, I've done it. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your words. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. Depending upon how it is used, the word can set you free or it can enslave you more than you know. All the magic you possess is based on your words. Your word is pure magic, and the misuse of your word is black magic. Have a conversation with the person sitting beside you, because that may have pushed some buttons. Go.
Hey.
I look at it like being the word as if it's truth and heaven on earth. It's something to stand on because it's solid, if it's truthful, if it's your word. And if it's not truthful, it's not solid ground. It's a fake stepping, it's something to stand on. And so maybe the symbol of you don't have to, well, hell, heaven or hell, or real or not real, the power of the word, if it's real or not. And simply, if it's not true, it's not real, and you can't stand on it. It won't protect you at the end of the day.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm actually, yeah, I'm writing about it. Yeah. How's the garden? How's the garden?
We don't have one.
We don't. Okay.
We talked about it in spring,
Yeah.
but nobody stepped up. And plus we never got the watering system.
So I hear that we had lots of conversation around that.
Maybe next spring.
Know
I
that
think it's a yes.
Wednesday night, the class was full of
Next
conversation around that. What is black magic? I know Becky Estrita and I went one day to see this woman who reads tarot cards. And everything she said to us was right on. It's like, oh. And at one point in time, she said, I can play on both sides of the energy if you need me to. Wow. It was like, and then I had to sit with that. And sit with that, I'm like, okay, what is this woman saying to me? She's not saying anything different than that book said. We all do. Every day, all day long. There's probably not a week that goes by that we don't have a black magic thought. Just breathe. I'm not saying y'all are going to hell. You're not in that church this Sunday, okay? I'm saying that if we don't want karma to come back and bite us with it, we're going to become obviously listening to our thoughts and our words. Because when I put a negative thought or a negative statement out there about something else or somebody, it's coming back to me eventually. Can we hear that? And again, I'm not saying, okay, all y'all blessed sinners need to repent and come forward and be baptized. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that that is what we do to become impeccable with our words. You understand why the writer of that little bitty tiny book said this is the hardest one to do? And that if you can ever get to the point of being impeccable with your words, which means without sin, without error thought. What is an error thought? That someone or somebody or myself is anything other than light. Now finish your conversation about black magic with the person you're talking So how many of us really realize how powerful we really are in every moment of the day? Every moment. And so that's what this whole lesson is about. Again, that's such a tiny little book. We can read it and throw it aside and say, I got this. Be impeccable with your words. Until you're talking about the president, or somebody else that you don't agree with, or the governor, or the mayor, or the...
Yourself.
And then I'm going to say all the things I want to say. Remember, I said this last week because I can. I have the right to. I have the right to say anything I want to say. And it is a force that once I put it out there, it starts coming back. Know that I've had people argue with me about that for years. Some of those same people now are watching things fall apart around them. And now they're reaching back out and going, you know, you might have been right. I'm like, it's not about me being right. It's about this is a universal principle. And we can either buy into it or not buy into it. This is from probably a children's book, a picture of Jesus with a lot of children. This is another one of those days when he had worked really, really hard all day and healed a bunch of people and done a lot of work. And all of a sudden, a bunch of people brought their children to him, and his disciples went, no! He doesn't have time for these little kids. And he's tired, and they're going to take a lot of his energy. No, take them away. And Jesus went, no, stop. Did you not know that these children are what makes up the kingdom of heaven? That until you become like these children, you won't even have a chance to be in the kingdom of heaven. What in the world was he talking about? He was talking about the purity of their light. I asked last week, how many of you have ever seen a newborn baby? And the purity of their light. And it's somewhere along the way, parents, schools, whatever, sometimes begin sucking that out of them. We see that. Those of us that have been out there teaching before, you can see a child come into your room that might be 7, 8, 9 years old, and you can see the light has been sucked out already. You're like, whoa. How do we do this? I love and respect myself. How do you love and respect yourself? How do you do it? Somebody tell me what you do to love and respect yourself. What do you do? Appreciate yourself. How do you do that, Dan?
I notice the things I'm doing and say that.
Did you all hear that? He says, I notice what good things I'm doing and I say, wow, that was a good thing. How many of us notice those things and we notice the bad things more? And we say, well, that was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. When we make a negative statement about ourselves, are we loving and respecting ourselves? No. So I'm going to teach you a silly little song. Some of you have heard this song before. I want you to stand up. There are hand motions too. We're on a hand motion roll. Okay, we're going to just talk through it first. I love myself so much. Say that with me. I love myself so much. That I can love you so much. That you can love you so much. That you can start loving me. Say say that with me one more time. Just echo it, okay? And are you understanding what this is about? It starts with me loving me. I have to love myself so much that I can love you. And if I love you that much, then you're going to love you that much, and then you can love me. You get it? Because no, we do it the opposite. You gotta love me! But I get it. Okay? I love myself so much. That I can love you so much. That you can love you so much. That you can start loving me. Okay, I'm going to sing it. Those of you that know it, sing along. We'll sing it 2 or 3 times. I love myself so much that I can love you so much. That you can love you so much. That you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much. That you can love you so much. That you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much. That you can love you so much. That you can start loving me. Take a pause right there. Now here's the brave step. Find somebody you can sing that to. And you can pick somebody that you love already, that's fine. But find somebody you can sing that to, okay? And we'll we'll sing through it twice. Go. I love myself so much that I can love you so much. That you can love you so much. That you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much. That you can love you so much. That you can start loving me. So I want you now to go back to the person you were having conversations with and say, how has this changed my thoughts from our earlier conversations? About me needing to love me better, about black magic, about words that I use, about myself and other people. Go. So how many of us really get it that I have to love me that much? Because if I don't love me that much, I can't love you that much. But in our world, we have been taught that we have to give all that love out there. Even when I don't feel it here. So is that really love I'm giving when I don't feel it here? No. I'm just asking. I don't know what that is, but it's probably not the same as if I love myself so much. Because if I don't love me so much and I think I'm loving somebody else, again, I don't know what that vibration is, but it may not be love. Need. And so then I'm in a relationship with someone around need instead of love. That's real defeat. Because when I'm in a relationship with someone around need and not love, then when they drop their end of the jump rope, you remember we talked about that on Wednesday night, you're holding a jump rope with this person. And when they drop their end, I get mad. Because I needed them. It's a whole nother conversation. Is need love? So we're going to talk about Jonah. Know that we're only going to go through the first part of his story this week. We're going to do all the scary parts first. Because that's kind of how we do life. Jonah was this amazing man who had all kinds of light within him. And he even listened to the sweet Spirit whispers. And he listened to what Holy Spirit told him to do and how Holy Spirit told him to show up. Until one day, when Holy Spirit said, "Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I gave you." Now know that Nineveh was struggling in the moment about whether they wanted to be a city of love or a city of war. Does that sound familiar? Are we going to spend all of our energies and time on war, or are we going to spend all of our energies and time on love? What do you think Jonah thought about the Spirit telling him, you need to go to this city and you need to talk to them, and you need to convince them to be a city of love? What do you think he thought? I don't want to do that.
That's right. You know.
Has Spirit ever whispered to you and said, this is for you to do, and your first thought was, I don't want to do that. Let Cynthia do it. Let somebody else do it. I don't want to do that. So he ran away. He caught the first boat leaving the port. He didn't even know what the boat was. He didn't care. Just jumped on and left. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I don't want to do this. Please don't tell me I have to, but I'm going to run away from it. I'm going to ask some of you great metaphysical students, can we run away from the message that Spirit is trying to give us?
No.
We can't. It will keep following you. It will follow you until you go into the grave. And then if you still haven't listened, it'll come back through the next lifetime. And the next lifetime. And the next lifetime. Isn't that exciting? You're going to get to Nineveh whether you want to or not. Did you just hear Deb? You're going to Nineveh if your trip is to Nineveh. Okay? So he got on this boat, and the boat started having problems. Everybody was in chaos. Wow. And he finally said, this boat may be in chaos and all these waves and all this stuff, maybe because of me. Because I'm running away from something I didn't want to deal with. Guess what the people decided to do to him? You're out of here. You're causing us more stress than we want to deal with. And this ain't our stress. You ever been in the middle of something with somebody and you realize this is not my monkey, this is not my circus? It's like, I don't have anything to do with this. I don't want any part of this, so I'm going to throw you overboard. And then guess what? Now, I don't know where you are in your evolution of consciousness and whether or not you believe this is a true story. But this is probably not a true story. This is a metaphysical story about all of us and what we do. So the last conversation you're going to have this morning with people is, what am I attempting to run from and what issues are eating me alive, which is the whale. Go.
Join us are more pure. But really, that vulnerability, I'm learning, is kind of our strength. Because if you listen to that and follow that, that's some of the most valuable parts of us, right? Because it's backed up by sometimes wrong. If it's like pure source, it's real. It'll back you up. It's vulnerable to get there. I'm learning that myself.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
I hope as we have these discussions, if you have been scared of the Bible, you can begin to understand that it's not a scary book. Man, woman has made it scary because we misinterpreted it. It's just stories for us to learn from. Where am I like Jonah? Where have I been called to go do something and it scares me so deeply that I run from it? And then the issue of it all eats me alive. And then I think, well, I'm not going to have to worry about that ever again. Yeah. Because in my life, it keeps biting me in the booty. And even if I move to Kalamazoo, it's going to find me in Kalamazoo. Because wherever you go, there you are. And the universe is going to find you. You can't jump on a ship and jump to the other side of the earth and think the universe is going to go, well, I don't know where Jill went. I don't have a clue. Where did Jill go? You know, the lesson in the Old Testament when I was a child was about you can't hide from God. You can't hide. Whatever it is that is yours is going to find you. We read this Wednesday night. This is from the Message. The Word was first, the Word present to God. God present to the Word. The Word was God in readiness for God from day one. Whether you think about God creating the world or energy creating the world, the energy was always there waiting to create. Everything was created through Him. Nothing, not one thing, came into being without Him. Nothing came into existence without this energy. Nothing. What came into existence was life, and the life was light to live by. The life was light to live by. And the life light blazed out into the darkness. And this is important for you to hear. And the darkness couldn't put it out. The darkness couldn't put it out. Where am I allowing the darkness to put my light out? Do I realize that I am loved beyond measure? I guess I have some people coming up here to join me.
Once upon a time, light years ago, an awesome God set this world into motion. Once upon a time, not so long ago, I began to understand complete devotion. I
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you, Reverend D. It is time for us to do our sacred walk of abundance. I'm going to talk for just a moment while they get a keyboard out of the way for you here. If you're here for the first time, here's what we do. We walk down this aisle. We put our tithes and offerings and gifts in here. Here's our gift of change bucket. And you can get an affirmation from this bowl right here. Take your offering in your hands and say this with me, please. May we cherish the gifts of the Creator we have been given. May we hold the beauty of this world close to our hearts. May we embrace the spirit of giving and receiving on earth. May there come to all people, all animals, all living things, an abundance of the Word's greatest gifts: health, love, peace, and overflowing joy. In the name of all that is holy, we say Amen and Amen.
No, I'm not. I do. Yeah. Yeah. I could be, but no, I do. I'm pretty active in general, but I have a pull-up bar at home. Yeah. Thank you. It keeps this on track.
These tithes and offerings have come from that space of the light within each of us. And that light radiates love and joy and peace out into the world. And we know that these monies will move through this ministry, creating only good and that those monies will go back out into the world. Again, being light and sharing the vibration of love and joy and peace. We hold that image in our hearts and in our minds and in our own lives, and so it is. Amen.
Don't forget the vegetarian land lovers potluck. Well, the vegetarian potluck, I don't know what order they go in, but stick around after church. Say this along with me, would you? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Indonesia and Indiana too. Please don't miss that train.